The Providence Municipal Court feels different today. The air is thick, heavy. People in the gallery whisper to each other. They know something big is about to happen. Judge Frank Caprio sits at his bench. His reading glasses rest on his nose. He's looking at a file. His face is calm, professional, but there's something in his eyes. A hint of steel. If you believe that no one is above the law, not even those who are supposed to uphold it, you'll want to see what happens in the next few minutes. Subscribe now because this case will restore your faith in justice. The bailiff stands. His voice cuts through the whispers. Case number 2025, TR 98432. The State of Rhode Island versus Judge Randolph Pierce. Every head in the courtroom turns. A judge? In court. As a defendant. The doors open. In walks Randolph Pierce. He's 52 years old. Tall. Gray hair slicked back perfectly. His suit is custom-made. Probably costs $5,000. Italian leather shoes that shine like mirrors. A Patek Philippe watch on his wrist. The kind that costs more than a new car. But it's his face that tells the real story. His chin is up. His mouth is curved in a slight smile. Not friendly. More like a smirk. Like he knows a secret joke that no one else understands. He walks slowly. Each step deliberate. Confident. He doesn't look at Judge Caprio. He looks past him. Through him. Like Caprio isn't even worth his attention. Behind him, a young woman enters. Her name is Diana Ross. No relation to the singer. She's 28 years old. A public defender. She's wearing a simple black suit. Her briefcase is old. Worn. You can see the stress on her face. Dark circles under her eyes. She works 60 cases at once. Gets paid barely enough to cover rent. She's here because of Judge Pierce. Because 3 months ago, she stood in his courtroom. She was defending a homeless man named Thomas Wright. Thomas was charged with sleeping on a park bench. A violation of city ordinance. Diana asked for leniency. Thomas was a veteran. He served 2 tours in Iraq. He came home with PTSD. Lost his job. Lost his apartment. Lost everything. Judge Pierce didn't care. He cut Diana off mid-sentence. I don't want to hear sob stories, counselor, he said. The law is the law. 30 days in jail. Next case. Diana tried to speak. Your Honor, with respect. Are you arguing with me? Pierce's voice was ice. I could hold you in contempt right now. Would you like that? Diana went quiet. Thomas went to jail. He spent his 67th birthday behind bars. But that's not why Pierce is here today. 2 weeks after that hearing, Judge Pierce was driving home. It was 11:30 at night. He was coming from a fundraiser dinner. Expensive wine. Good food. Important people. His Mercedes S-Class was flying down Broad Street. The speed limit is 30 miles per hour. It's a residential area. Houses on both sides. Kids play there during the day. Pierce was doing 78. Officer Maria Santos was running radar. Her patrol car was parked in a church parking lot. She saw the Mercedes coming. Saw the speed. Hit her lights. Pierce didn't stop. Not right away. He drove another half mile. Finally pulled over in front of a jewelry store. Cameras everywhere. Officer Santos approached. Professional. Respectful. She didn't know who he was yet. License and registration, please. Pierce looked at her. Really looked at her. His eyes scanned her uniform. Her badge number. Her name tag. Then he smiled. That same smirk from the courtroom. He pulled out his wallet. But instead of his license, he pulled out a business card. Handed it to her. I'm Judge Randolph Pierce, he said. His voice was smooth. Come. District Court. I think we can handle this differently. Officer Santos looked at the card. Then back at him. Sir, I still need your license and registration. Pierce's smile faded. Just a bit. Officer Santos. That's a nice name. Puerto Rican. Sir, your license, please. I'm trying to help you understand something, Pierce said. His voice got quieter. More dangerous. I know your captain, Mike Rodriguez. We play poker together. I also know the commissioner. And the mayor. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Officer Santos felt her heart speed up. But she kept her voice steady. Sir, you were going 78 in a 30. That's reckless driving. I need your license and registration. Now. Pierce stared at her. 10 seconds. 20. The silence was heavy. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. You're new, aren't you? Still think the rules matter. He reached into his glove box. Pulled out his registration. Tossed it at her. It fell on the ground. Officer Santos picked it up. Her body camera caught everything. Every word, every gesture, every piece of his arrogance. She wrote the ticket. Her hands were shaking, but she wrote it. Reckless driving. Speed 78 in a 30 zone. Court appearance mandatory. Pierce took the ticket. Didn't even look at it. "I'll take care of this," he said. "And officer, you should think about your career choices. You just made a big mistake." That was 8 weeks ago. Now Pierce stands in front of Judge Caprio, his own colleague. They've known each other for 15 years, served on the same bench, attended the same judicial conferences. But today is different. Today, Pierce is not wearing his robes. Today, he's just another defendant. Judge Caprio looks up from the file. His eyes meet Pierce's. "Judge Pierce," he says. His voice is neutral, professional. "Please state your full name for the record." Pierce doesn't answer right away. He adjusts his cufflinks. Takes his time. "Randolph Edward Pierce," he finally says. "Judge Randolph Edward Pierce. Let's not forget that part, Frank." Frank. Not Judge Caprio. Not Your Honor. Frank. People in the gallery shift in their seats. A woman in the second row leans forward. A man pulls out his phone, then remembers recording isn't allowed. Puts it away. Judge Caprio doesn't react. His face stays calm. "Judge Pierce, you've been charged with reckless driving. Speed exceeding 25 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the charges?" "Oh, I understand them," Pierce says. He's still smiling. "I also understand this is a waste of everyone's time, including yours." The courtroom goes silent. Did he just say that? To a judge? In open court? Judge Caprio writes something down. "How do you plead?" Pierce shrugs. One shoulder. Casual. "Do we really need to do this whole song and dance? Can't we just handle this in chambers? Professional courtesy." "We're in open court, Judge Pierce. The question stands. How do you plead?" Pierce's jaw tightens. Just for a second. Then the smile comes back. "Not guilty. Obviously." "Thank you. The prosecution may present their case." A young prosecutor stands. Her name is Rachel Kim. She's 31. Been doing this for 4 years. She's nervous. You can see it in the way she holds her papers. Her hands are steady, but her knuckles are white. She's about to prosecute a sitting judge. If she wins, she's a hero. If she loses, her career might be over. Judges remember. "Your Honor," Rachel says, "the state will show that on November 3rd, at approximately 11:32 p.m., the defendant was operating a motor vehicle at 78 miles per hour in a posted 30-mile-per-hour zone. Officer Maria Santos clocked his speed using calibrated radar equipment. The violation was recorded on body camera. The defendant then attempted to use his position as a judge to avoid citation. He made implicit threats regarding Officer Santos's career. He mentioned knowing her commanding officers by name. He threw his registration at the officer. His behavior was not only reckless on the road, but contemptuous of law enforcement." Pierce is shaking his head. Slowly, like he's watching a child struggle with basic math. "We also have evidence," Rachel continues, "that in the 2 weeks following the traffic stop, Officer Santos received 3 calls from individuals identifying themselves as friends of Judge Pierce. These individuals suggested that the ticket could be dismissed if Officer Santos reconsidered her report. She declined. She also filed a formal complaint with Internal Affairs. That complaint is part of our evidence today." Pierce laughs. Out loud. "This is incredible," he says. He's not talking to anyone specific, just announcing it to the room. "We're really doing this." Judge Caprio looks at him. "Judge Pierce, you'll have an opportunity to speak. Right now, please remain silent unless you're spoken to." "Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor." Pierce's voice drips with sarcasm. He emphasizes the words Your Honor like they're a joke. "I forgot I was in your courtroom, your kingdom, where you get to make all the rules." "Strike that from the record," Judge Caprio says to the court reporter. "Judge Pierce, I'm warning you. One more outburst and I'll hold you in contempt." "Contempt?" Pierce's eyebrows go up. "You're going to hold a sitting judge in contempt? Do you know what that would mean? For you? For this court? For your reputation?" The gallery erupts. People are talking over each other. Gasps. Shocked whispers. Someone says, "Oh my God," loud enough for everyone to hear. The bailiff steps forward. His hand moves toward Pierce. Just in case. Judge Caprio bangs his gavel. Once. Twice. 3 times. "Order. Order in this court." The room goes quiet again. But the energy has changed. It's electric now. Dangerous. Prosecutor Kim, Judge Caprio says, please call your first witness. Rachel stands. The state calls Officer Maria Santos. Officer Santos walks to the witness stand. She's 34 years old. Been on the force for 6 years. She has 2 kids. Works night shifts because the pay is better. Her husband is a teacher. They need every dollar. She takes the oath. Her hand is steady on the Bible. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. She sits. Rachel approaches. Officer Santos, can you describe the events of November 3rd? Maria nods. I was conducting routine traffic enforcement on Broad Street. At approximately 11:32 p.m., I observed a black Mercedes S-Class traveling at high speed. I activated my radar. The vehicle was traveling at 78 miles per hour. The posted speed limit is 30. It's a residential zone. What happened when you initiated the traffic stop? The vehicle didn't stop immediately. It continued for approximately half a mile. When it finally stopped, I approached and requested license and registration. And did the driver comply? Not initially. He handed me a business card instead. It identified him as a district court judge. He then made statements suggesting that he knew my supervisors. He implied that writing the ticket would be a mistake for my career. Pierce stands up. Just stands. Doesn't say anything. Just stands there with his arms crossed. Judge Caprio looks at him. Judge Pierce, sit down. I will not sit here and listen to lies, Pierce says. His voice is loud now. The smooth confidence is cracking. This officer is fabricating a story because she's embarrassed. She made an error in judgment. She's trying to cover it up by attacking me. Bailiff, Judge Caprio says. The bailiff moves next to Pierce. Places one hand on Pierce's shoulder. Firm but not aggressive. Sir, you need to sit down. Pierce looks at the bailiff's hand. Then at the bailiff. Then at Judge Caprio. For a moment, it seems like he might do something stupid. Really stupid. But he sits. Slowly. Like it's his choice. Like he's doing everyone a favor. Officer Santos continues. Her voice is stronger now. After I wrote the citation, the defendant said, and I quote, "You just made a big mistake." I interpreted that as a threat. Everything was recorded on my body camera. Rachel holds up a tablet. Your Honor, I'd like to play the body camera footage for the court. Judge Caprio nods. Proceed. The bailiff sets up a screen. The lights dim slightly. The video plays. Everyone watches. The footage is crystal clear. High definition. Audio is perfect. You can see Officer Santos approach the Mercedes. Professional. Respectful. License and registration, please. You can hear Pierce's voice. See his face in the patrol car lights. I'm Judge Randolph Pierce. District Court. I think we can handle this differently. You watch the whole exchange. The business card. The name dropping. The registration thrown on the ground. The final threat. When it ends, the courtroom is silent. The kind of silence that's loud. That screams. Pierce is sitting rigid in his chair. His face is red now. The smooth confidence is gone. Now he just looks angry. Your Honor, Rachel says, the state also has phone records. After this traffic stop, Officer Santos received 3 calls. We traced them. One came from a city councilman. One came from a law firm that represents Judge Pierce in civil matters. One came from an unlisted number that we tracked to Judge Pierce's clerk. She hands documents to the bailiff. He brings them to Judge Caprio. Each caller suggested that Officer Santos could make this go away. That was just a misunderstanding. That Judge Pierce is a good man who made a small mistake. Officer Santos documented each call, filed reports, did everything by the book. Judge Caprio reads the documents. His face doesn't change, but his eyes do. They get harder, colder. The state also has sworn statements, Rachel continues, from 3 other police officers. Officers who have appeared in Judge Pierce's courtroom over the past 2 years. Each one describes similar behavior. Judge Pierce making comments about their testimony, asking about their families, mentioning knowing their supervisors, creating an atmosphere of intimidation. Pierce explodes. Actually explodes. He's on his feet. His chair scrapes back. This is a witch hunt. You're dredging up unrelated nonsense to poison this court. Frank, you know me. You know I would never. Judge Pierce. Caprio's voice cuts like a knife. Sharp. Final. Sit. Down. Now. Pierce stands there. His chest is heaving. His face is dark red. Veins visible on his forehead. I said sit down. Pierce sits, but he's not done talking. You're enjoying this, he says. Quieter now, but everyone can still hear. You've always been jealous. Small-time judge in traffic court, while I handle real cases. Real criminals. Real law. There it is. The nuclear quote. The moment everyone will remember. Small-time judge. In traffic court. Judge Caprio sets down his pen. Removes his glasses. Folds them carefully. Places them on the desk. 10 seconds pass. No one moves. No one breathes. Diana Ross, the public defender, is sitting in the front row. She's not here as counsel. Pierce dismissed her. Hired a private attorney who didn't show up. Left him to represent himself. Diana is here as a witness. But right now, she's just watching. And she's smiling. Just a little. Because she knows. Everyone knows. Pierce just ended his career. Judge Caprio stands. He doesn't look angry. Doesn't look upset. He looks disappointed. That's worse. Judge Pierce, he says. His voice is quiet. Calm. But it fills the entire courtroom. I've known you for 15 years. We've attended conferences together. Sat on panels together. I've respected your work. Even when I didn't agree with your decisions, I respected the fact that you took your oath seriously. Or at least I thought you did. Pierce opens his mouth. Caprio raises one hand. Pierce closes his mouth. You're right about one thing, Caprio continues. I am a small-time judge. I handle traffic cases. Parking violations. Small claims. The cases that most judges consider beneath them. The cases that don't make the news. Don't win awards. Don't lead to appointments on higher courts. He walks around his bench. Stands at the front of the courtroom. Closer to Pierce now. But do you know what I learned in my small-time court? I learned that every case matters. Every person who walks through that door matters. Whether they're fighting a parking ticket or facing jail time. Whether they're rich or poor. Whether they're a janitor or a judge. Pierce is staring at the floor now. His hands are clenched in his lap. You stood in your courtroom, Caprio says, and you sentenced a 67-year-old veteran to jail for sleeping on a bench. You didn't ask about his circumstances. Didn't care about his service. Didn't show 1 ounce of compassion. Why? Because you could. Because you had the power. And because you thought the rules didn't apply to you. The courtroom is dead silent. You could drop a pin and everyone would hear it. Then you got pulled over for going 78 in a 30. You know what that speed means. In a residential neighborhood? At night. It means if a child ran into the street, you couldn't stop. It means if a family was crossing at a crosswalk, they would die. Because you were in a hurry. Because your time is more valuable. Because you're special. Caprio walks back to his bench. Sits down. Puts his glasses back on. But you're not special, Judge Pierce. You're just a man. A man who forgot what his oath meant. A man who used his position as a weapon instead of a responsibility. A man who thought being a judge made him better than everyone else. He opens a leather folder. Pulls out several sheets of paper. Officer Santos, you're dismissed. Thank you for your service and your integrity. Maria stands. Walks past Pierce. Doesn't look at him. Prosecutor Kim, does the state have any additional evidence? No, Your Honor. The state rests. Judge Pierce, do you wish to present a defense? Pierce looks up. His eyes are wet. Not tears. Not yet. But close. What's the point, he says. His voice is hollow. Empty. You've already decided. I've decided nothing, Caprio says. The evidence speaks for itself. But if you have testimony or witnesses, now is the time. Pierce shakes his head. I have nothing to say. Very well. Then I'll deliver my ruling. Judge Caprio picks up his pen. Writes something. The scratching sound is loud in the silent room. On the charge of reckless driving, I find you guilty. The evidence is overwhelming. The video is clear. Your own words condemn you. Pierce doesn't react. Just sits there. But this case is about more than a speeding ticket, isn't it? It's about abuse of power. It's about a pattern of behavior. It's about a man who wore a black robe and forgot it was a symbol of justice, not a crown. Caprio looks directly at Pierce now. Eye to eye. Here's what's going to happen. And I want you to listen carefully. Because there won't be any second chances. No do-overs. No professional courtesy. He reads from his paper. First, financial penalties. You are fined $8,500. That breaks down as follows: $5,000 for the reckless driving violation, $2,500 for attempting to interfere with a police officer's duties, $1,000 for court costs. Payment is due within 30 days. No extensions. Pierce barely blinks. $8,000 is nothing to him. He makes that in a week. Second, your driver's license is suspended for 180 days. 6 months. You'll take the bus, or walk, or ask someone for a ride. Like the people who appear in your courtroom every day. The people who can't afford cars, who take 3 buses to get to work. You're going to understand what that's like. Now Pierce looks up. 6 months? His face shows the first crack. Third, and this is the important part, you will complete 300 hours of community service. Not just any community service. You're going to work as a clerk in this court. My court. The small-time traffic court. The gallery erupts. People are talking over each other. A woman in the back row actually claps once before catching herself. Pierce's face goes white, then red, then white again. You'll file papers, Caprio continues. You'll answer phones. You'll help people fill out forms. People who don't speak English well. People who are confused by the system. People who are scared. And you'll treat them with respect. Every single one. You can't, Pierce starts. I can. And I am. You'll report here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You'll wear a name tag. It will say, Court Volunteer Randolph Pierce. Not Judge. Not Your Honor. Just Randolph Pierce. This is humiliating. Yes, Caprio says simply. It is. And it's supposed to be. Because you need to remember what it feels like to be powerless. To be at someone else's mercy. To need help and hope that the person helping you treats you like a human being. He's not done. Fourth, you will write a formal letter of apology. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter. To Officer Santos. To Thomas Wright, the veteran you sent to jail. To every officer who appeared in your courtroom and felt intimidated. To the public defenders you dismissed and belittled. Each letter will be at least 500 words. Each one will be specific. I will review them personally. If I think they're not genuine, you'll write them again. Pierce is shaking now. His hands. His shoulders. Trembling with rage or fear, or both. Fifth, you will complete an ethics course. 40 hours. About judicial conduct. About abuse of power. About constitutional rights. You'll take a test at the end. You need to score 90% or higher. If you fail, you take it again. And sixth, Judge Caprio's voice gets quieter but harder. I'm filing a formal complaint with the Rhode Island Supreme Court's Committee on Judicial Conduct. This transcript will be part of that complaint. The body camera footage will be part of it. The phone records will be part of it. Everything will be reviewed. Whether you keep your position as a judge, that's not my decision. But I'm going to make sure they have all the facts. The room explodes. People are standing, talking. The bailiff is trying to maintain order, but even he looks stunned. Pierce sits frozen. His whole world is crashing down. His reputation, his career, his identity. Your Honor, he finally says. His voice is small, broken. Please. I have a family, a career. This will destroy me. Judge Caprio leans forward. Officer Santos has a family too. She worried every day that you would get her fired, that she wouldn't be able to feed her children, because she did her job, because she treated everyone equally. Even you. Thomas Wright had a family too. A daughter he hasn't spoken to in 3 years. Because he was ashamed. Because he slept on a bench and got thrown in jail on his birthday. Did you think about his family when you sentenced him? Pierce has no answer. He just stares at his hands. The law applies to everyone, Judge Pierce. Even judges. Especially judges. We're supposed to be better. Not because we're superior, but because we have a responsibility. We hold people's lives in our hands. Their freedom. Their futures. And when we abuse that responsibility, when we think we're above the very law we swore to uphold, we don't deserve to wear the robe. Judge Caprio stands. There's one more thing. You called me small time. And you're right. I am. I'll never sit on the Supreme Court. Never hear landmark cases. Never have law students study my decisions. And I'm fine with that. Because I help real people every day. People who are struggling. People who made mistakes. People who need a second chance or just someone to listen. He looks around the courtroom. At the faces watching. Listening. That's not small time to me. That's everything. And if you can't understand that, if you can't see the value in treating every person with dignity, then you never should have been a judge in the first place. He bangs his gavel. Once. Final. Court is adjourned. Bailiff, please escort Judge Pierce to the clerk's office. He'll start his community service today. Pierce doesn't move. Can't move. He's in shock. The bailiff touches his arm. Sir, please stand. Pierce stands. Mechanical. Automatic. He turns toward the door. As he passes Diana Ross, she makes eye contact with him. Just for a second. Her face says everything. This is for Thomas. This is for every person you treated like garbage. This is justice. Pierce walks out. Head down. Shoulders slumped. The man who entered with confidence and arrogance leaves broken. The courtroom slowly empties. People are talking in hushed tones. Some are smiling. Some look satisfied. Some look shocked. One woman approaches the bench. She's older. Gray hair. Worn coat. She's been sitting in the back the whole time. Excuse me, Judge Caprio. He looks up. Yes, ma'am. My son got a ticket. He was driving without insurance. He's on disability. Can't afford it. I'm scared they'll take his license. He needs it to get to his medical appointments. Judge Caprio smiles. Warm. Kind. What's the case number? Let me look it up. We'll figure something out. Thank you, she says. Her voice cracks. Thank you for being fair. He nods. That's what I'm here for. 3 months pass. It's a Friday morning. The courthouse is busy. People coming and going. Cases being called. The usual chaos of justice in motion. Randolph Pierce walks down the hallway. He's wearing khaki pants. A plain blue shirt. A name tag that says court volunteer. His expensive watch is gone. His designer clothes are gone. He looks ordinary. Normal. He's carrying a stack of files. Helping an elderly man fill out a form. The man speaks broken English. Pierce is patient. Explaining each line. Making sure he understands. A police officer walks by. Pierce recognizes him. Officer James Chun. He testified in Pierce's courtroom 2 years ago. Pierce made a comment about Chen's accent. Asked where he was really from. Made him uncomfortable. Chun stops. Looks at Pierce. Pierce looks at the ground. Waiting for the confrontation. The payback. Hey, Chun says. Pierce looks up. Yes. Chun pauses. Then nods. You helped my grandmother last week. With her parking ticket. She said you were very kind. Very patient. Thank you. He walks away before Pierce can respond. Pierce stands there. The files in his hands suddenly feel lighter. In Judge Caprio's courtroom, Diana Ross is presenting a case. She's defending a single mother charged with driving with a suspended license. The woman drove her sick daughter to the emergency room. Couldn't wait for an ambulance. Couldn't afford one. Your Honor, Diana says, my client made a choice. Break the law or watch her daughter suffer. I think any parent would make the same choice. Judge Caprio listens. Asks questions. Reviews the evidence. The woman's daughter is okay now. Recovered from her asthma attack. Ms. Ross, your client made a difficult decision. The law is clear about suspended licenses. But the law also has room for compassion. Case dismissed. Ma'am, please work on getting your license reinstated. The clerk's office can help with payment plans. The woman starts crying. Relief. Gratitude. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much. Diana smiles. Packs up her files. As she leaves the courtroom, she sees Pierce in the hallway. Still helping the elderly man with his paperwork. She walks over. Pierce sees her coming. Tenses up. Diana, he says. It's the first time he's used her first name. In his courtroom, it was always counselor or nothing at all. Judge Pierce. She still calls him Judge. Old habit. Just Randolph, he says. I'm not a judge anymore. Not here anyway. I heard about the disciplinary hearing, Diana says carefully. 3-month suspension. No pay. Mandatory ethics training. Pierce nods. Could have been worse. Could have been permanent. But it's not over yet. 6 more months of probation. 1 mistake and I'm done. How are you handling it? He looks around. At the busy courthouse. At the people who need help. Honestly, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Every day I come here, I see people I've treated badly. Cases I handled wrong. Lives I didn't value enough. He sets down his files. Looks at Diana directly. I owe you an apology. A real one. Not court-ordered. I was terrible to you. I dismissed your arguments. I cut you off. I made you feel small because I could, because I had the power, and you didn't. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Diana studies his face, looking for signs of manipulation. Insincerity. She doesn't find any. I appreciate that, she says. Thomas Wright would appreciate it too. I wrote to him. To his daughter, actually. I found her on Facebook. Told her about her father. About what happened. About how I was wrong. She responded. Said Thomas is doing better now. Got into a housing program. Getting treatment for his PTSD. She thanked me for reaching out. That's good. I didn't do it for forgiveness, Pierce says quickly. I did it because he deserved to know. Deserved to hear that he mattered. That I was wrong. Diana nods. You're different. I'm broke, Pierce laughs. No humor in it. Just truth. The ethics course cost $4,000. The fine was $8,500. My lawyer for the disciplinary hearing was $30,000. My wife is furious. We had to cancel our vacation. Downsize our house. And you know what? Good. I needed to understand what it's like. To worry about money. To make hard choices. To feel what everyone else feels. The elderly man Pierce was helping calls out. He needs more assistance. Pierce excuses himself. Goes back to work. Diana watches him go. She's not sure if he's truly changed or just scared. Time will tell. But at least he's trying. That's more than she expected. 6 months later, Judge Pierce stands in front of the Rhode Island Supreme Court's Committee on Judicial Conduct. 5 justices. Stern faces. Serious expressions. They've reviewed everything. The body camera footage. The phone records. The testimony from Officer Santos. The statements from other officers. Diana's account of the Thomas Wright case. Pierce's apology letters. His community service reports. Judge Caprio's evaluation. The Chief Justice speaks. She's 64 years old. Been on the bench for 20 years. She's seen everything. But this case is different. They don't often discipline their own. Judge Pierce, she says, we've deliberated for 3 weeks. This decision wasn't easy. Your behavior was reprehensible. You violated your oath. You abused your position. You intimidated law enforcement officers. You showed contempt for the very system you swore to uphold. Pierce stands straight, hands at his sides. He doesn't argue, doesn't make excuses. However, the Chief Justice continues, we've also reviewed your actions since the incident. Your completion of 300 hours of community service. Your ethics training. Your apology letters. Your cooperation with this investigation. Judge Caprio's report indicates significant change in your attitude and behavior. She pauses, looks at her colleagues. They nod. We've decided to reinstate your position. With conditions. Pierce's knees almost buckle. He grabs the table in front of him for support. You'll be on probation for 2 years. You'll complete quarterly ethics reviews. You'll attend biannual training on judicial conduct. Any complaint against you, any violation, will result in immediate permanent suspension. Do you understand? Yes, Pierce says. His voice is hoarse. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Don't thank us, she says. Thank Judge Caprio. Thank Officer Santos. Thank the people you hurt who gave you a second chance. And don't waste it. I won't. I promise. 1 year later, Judge Pierce sits in his courtroom. It's different now. He's different. A young man stands before him. 22 years old. Caught with marijuana. Small amount. Personal use. First offense. Your Honor, the public defender says, my client made a mistake. He's in college. Works part-time. He has no prior record. We're asking for probation and community service. Pierce reads the file. Looks at the young man. Sees himself. Sees privilege. Sees someone who made a bad choice but deserves a chance to learn from it. Young man, do you understand the seriousness of this charge? Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. Do you understand that your choices have consequences? That you could have lost your scholarship? Your future? Yes, Your Honor. Pierce sets down the file. I'm going to give you probation. 1 year. You'll complete 40 hours of community service. You'll attend drug education classes. And you'll write me an essay. 500 words. About responsibility. About privilege. About how your actions affect others. Can you do that? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You have to earn this second chance. I'm trusting you to do better. Don't make me regret it. I won't, Your Honor. The young man leaves. Relieved. Grateful. Pierce calls the next case. An elderly woman. Parking ticket. She parked in a handicapped spot. No placard. Ma'am, do you have a disability? Yes, Your Honor. I have arthritis. Walking is hard. But I can't afford the doctor visit to get the placard. My insurance doesn't cover it. Pierce thinks for a moment. I'm going to continue this case for 90 days. In that time, I want you to contact the court's social services office. They work with free clinics. They can help you get the medical documentation you need. When you come back with a valid placard, we'll dismiss this ticket. Does that work? The woman's eyes fill with tears. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Next case. The day continues. One case after another. Pierce listens. Really listens. To each story. Each struggle. Each person's humanity. At the end of the day, he walks down the courthouse steps. Gets on the bus. He got his license back 6 months ago, but he still takes the bus sometimes. To remember. To stay humble. Diana, Ross is waiting at the bus stop. Coincidence or maybe not. Judge Pierce. Diana. How are you? Good. Just finished a trial. One actually. Congratulations. They stand in comfortable silence. The bus arrives. They both get on. Can I ask you something? Diana says. Of course. Do you ever regret it? That night. Driving too fast. Getting pulled over. Pierce thinks about it. Really thinks. I regret who I was, he says finally. I regret the people I hurt. The power I abused. But the getting caught? The punishment? The humiliation? No. I needed that. I needed someone to stop me. To show me what I'd become. Judge Caprio did that. He did. He could have just suspended my license. Given me a fine. Kept it quiet. Professional courtesy. But he didn't. He held me accountable. In public. In front of everyone. And he was right to do it. The bus stops. Diana stop. She stands. You know what the funny thing is? Pierce says. What? I'm a better judge now. I care more. I listen more. I help more. I should send Judge Caprio a thank you card. Diana smiles. You should. She gets off the bus. Pierce watches her go. Then settles back in his seat for the long ride home. 2 years later. Judge Caprio is in his chambers. Going through files. His reading glasses are on. A cup of coffee steams on his desk. Someone knocks on the door. Come in. Judge Pierce enters. He's wearing his robe. Court adjourned for the day. Frank, you got a minute? Of course. Sit down. Pierce sits. He looks nervous. Like a student meeting with a principal. I wanted to thank you, he says. I never really did that properly. For what you did. For holding me accountable. You don't need to thank me. I was doing my job. No, it was more than that. You could have gone easy on me. Could have let me off with a warning. But you didn't. You made me face what I'd done. You made me change. Caprio removes his glasses. Randolph, I didn't make you change. You changed yourself. You did the work. You showed up every day. You wrote the letters. You completed the service. You became a better judge. That was all you. I had good motivation. I was terrified. Humiliated. Angry. Good. Those feelings made you human. For the first time in a long time, you felt what the people in your courtroom feel every day. Fear. Vulnerability. Powerlessness. Pierce nods. I heard you're retiring next month. I am. Time to spend more time with grandkids. Garden. Maybe travel a bit. The court won't be the same without you. The court will be fine. There are good judges. Like you. Now. Pierce stands to leave. Pauses at the door. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you think people can really change? Or do they just learn to hide who they really are? Caprio thinks about this. I think people can change if they want to. If they're willing to look at themselves honestly. To admit their mistakes. To do the hard work. But it's not automatic. It's not easy. And it takes time. How much time? A lifetime. Every day you have to choose. To be better. To do better. Some days you'll succeed. Some days you'll fail. But you keep trying. That's what matters. Pierce nods. Thanks, Frank. You're welcome. Pierce leaves. Caprio watches him go. Then picks up his coffee. Takes a sip. Smiles to himself. Justice. Real justice. Isn't about punishment. It's about transformation. It's about giving people the chance to become who they should have been all along. And sometimes it works. The Providence Courthouse still stands. Cases are still heard. People still come looking for justice. Some find it, some don't. But every day, judges sit on their benches and try to do what's right. Judge Frank Caprio retired. His courtroom videos went viral. Millions of views. People all over the world watched him treat defendants with dignity, with compassion, with justice. Officer Maria Santos got promoted. Sergeant now. She trains new officers, teaches them about integrity, about doing the right thing even when it's hard, even when it costs you something. Diana Ross still defends people, still fights for the ones who can't fight for themselves. She won a big case last month, got a wrongful conviction overturned. A man went free after 12 years in prison. Thomas Wright got housed, got treatment, reconnected with his daughter. He volunteers now at a shelter for homeless veterans, helps other guys like him, tells them there's hope. And Judge Randolph Pierce? He still sits on the bench, still hears cases, but now he remembers. Every time he puts on his robe, he remembers taking it off. Every time he bangs his gavel, he remembers being on the other side of it. He's not perfect, still makes mistakes, still has bad days, but he tries. Every single day, he tries to be better, because he learned something important, something we all need to learn. The law isn't about power. It's not about who you know or how much money you have. It's not about being better than everyone else. The law is about fairness, about treating everyone the same, about remembering that behind every case number, every ticket, every charge, there's a human being, a person with struggles and dreams and dignity. And when you have the power to judge others, to hold their freedom in your hands, you better remember that. Because power without compassion is just tyranny, and justice without mercy is just revenge. Judge Caprio knew that. Officer Santos knew that. Diana Ross knew that. And after one very bad night and one very public lesson, Judge Pierce learned it too. Money can buy expensive cars, designer clothes, Italian shoes, but it can't buy respect. It can't buy integrity. It can't buy character. And it definitely can't buy justice. In Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, justice isn't for sale. It's not negotiable. It's not flexible based on who you are or what you can afford. It's just justice. Equal, fair, blind to everything except the truth. And that's exactly how it should be.